All right. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and today we're actually driving the Z. Yes, sir. Z works now. Ready? Start up. Ready? Actually, hold on. Let me roll down the windows. You guys can hear it better. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. That's a man's car right there. Yes, sir. Okay, before we get into the video, guys, I actually have some of probably the worst news ever. Probably the worst news I'm gonna give you guys for a while. And to you guys, it probably won't matter, but to me, it matters a lot, so I just want to ask for your guys's... Well, you'll see. So, last night around 2:30 a.m., my dog, her name is Echo, she was a boxer, she started to breathe really weirdly, very fast, rapid, shallow breathing. And she wouldn't stand up for more than like 10 seconds, and her stomach was incredibly bloated. So me and my dad around 3 in the morning drove her an hour away out to Brewster, New York, which is an hour away from us, to an emergency vet. And they told us, they went in and they, you know, they checked on her and everything, and they made sure. But she, what happened was she breathed in too much air, they're thinking, and so a bunch of air was in her body, and pretty much her stomach turned upside down on itself. It's called GDV, and yeah, she didn't have much longer to live, and so we could have paid for emergency surgery, but unfortunately it was $12,000, and we don't have that kind of money, and so we had to put her down. And it is horrible. It is actually the worst thing ever right now. It's actually why I'm driving the Z today, because I just want to get my thoughts off of it. I don't have anywhere to go, but I just wanted to drive it. And I'm going to put a picture up on the screen of what she looks like now. Her name was Echo, E-C-H-O. She was a boxer. She was 9 years old, and so she lived a happy life. We loved every moment with her. We cherished her. She was a good girl. I don't know, I just told you guys, because I know you guys don't know her, because you guys don't know my personal life like that at all. This is a horrible start to a video. So I'm really sorry for anybody who's like new here and it's just like, I don't care. But I know, like I said, I know you guys don't know her, and this wasn't like you guys never met her or anything like that, but I just want her to see that she was a beautiful dog and that she was a good girl. And if you guys could comment that and just let her know, you know, that she was a good dog. I'm gonna take a break. All right, I'm ready now. I am so sorry, guys, for that horrible intro, but either way, let's get into the video. Today's video is going to be on what all the BMW chassis codes mean, because when getting into the BMW world, a lot of people don't say like, oh, I have a 3 Series or I have a M3 or that or this, because they all are called the same, right? So like an M3 from 1995 is going to be the same as an M3. It's going to be called a BMW M3 in 2022 as well. So what they do is they use chassis codes in order to determine which one that they're talking about, so people know, right? And it's very confusing. It is so confusing, and I still don't know all of them. I'm trying to learn most of them. I still don't know all of them though, and so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Only the big ones though. We're not going to go into literally every single BMW and their chassis codes. So like the X6s and the X5s, I don't know those chassis codes. They're SUVs. Nobody really calls them by the chassis codes anyway. What we're really going to talk about is the 3 Series, the 4 Series, the 5 Series, and the 6 Series. Those are the ones that are talked about the most for sure. And so those are the ones that I think everybody should know, especially the 3 and the 5. The 3 Series and the 5 Series are talked about all the time. So we're going to get into that right now. Starting with the 3 Series. The first ever 3 Series BMW to come out was the E21 is what it's called. It did not have a performance version. It did not have an M3 model of it yet. That wouldn't be until the next generation. So not a lot of people actually talk about this one, but it is the first generation technically. And so I just wanted you guys to know that there is one out there called the E21. It's the oldest of the 3 Series. It is the first generation. You don't really need to know that one, but just in case somebody says E21, now you know that they're talking about that generation. Next is going to be the one that you guys have probably heard the most about in recent years. This one's getting incredibly popular. Everybody wants one of these now. It is the second generation 3 Series, which is the E30. Okay, every model of the second generation BMW is the E30. It's the one with the 4 headlights in the front, the boxy shape, and this is the first one to ever come out with an M3. This is not the first M car, I want to make that very clear, but it is the first M3. So if you ever are wondering, you know, what is this E30 that everybody keeps talking about? It's this car. And it's a great car. They're rear-wheel drive. The M3 are amazing cars. They handle like a dream. They're fast for their time, especially if for their time they were killing everything on the track. They're really good cars. Next generation, though, is the E36. This one is probably the most popular in terms of BMWs out there in general. Everybody talks about the E36, and for good reason. They're a great car, especially for the price that they are. Right now you can get an E36 for like around $5,000. You can get it for less than $5,000 where I'm from, but I know in Cali it's probably like $10,000 and a freaking liver in order to buy a E36 right now. But they are just absolutely amazing cars. But the E36 is the 3rd generation of the 3 Series. And right after that would be the E46. This one had one of the best motors. The M3 model of the E46 had one of the best motors of all time, in my opinion, and it was called the S54. The S54 is just arguably one of the best motors of all time. The thing was absolutely amazing, good motor. But yeah, the M3 E46, another good car, another really good cheap platform to get yourself into if you're looking for like a cheap sports car. E46 is another great one. And next is when it starts to get a little bit confusing. All right, after the E46, what they did was started kind of changing up the chassis codes a little bit, right? So the next generation is commonly referred to as the E9X. And the reason why there's an X at the end is because that last number changes depending on which body style that you get, okay? So if you are going to get the sedan, then that car is going to be called the E90. All right, so the sedan of the 5th generation, right? 5th generation 3 Series is the E90. Right after that is the E91, which is the wagon. So that is the wagon version of the 5th generation. Then it's the E92, which is the coupe version of the 5th generation. That's definitely the most popular one. Everybody wants the coupe version. And then it's the E93, which is the convertible version of that generation. So it all shares the E9 part of it, but the number after E9 depends on which body style that you go with. Next up would be, they completely changed everything about it, and it's now incredibly confusing. It is the F Series. All right, holy moly, this is so gosh darn confusing. I don't get it. It's ridiculous. So now, instead of having different chassis codes for the car itself, there's different, I mean, for the body styles, there's also different chassis codes for the trim levels, okay? Because technically, the M3 is a completely different car than the normal 3 Series of this generation. So if you're gonna get a normal sedan version of this generation, then it's gonna be called the F30, okay? Now though, the coupe version of this generation is no longer a 3 Series, and it's now a 4 Series. So that's why when you see the M4 and you see the M3 next to each other, they look so similar. It's because they are the same car. One's just a coupe version and one's just a sedan version of that car. Everything about it is still kind of the same though. So like an F30 is still a sedan one. The F31 is still the wagon. The F32 is now the BMW 4 Series coupe. And then the F33 is the convertible version of that same model. But now, if you get the M3, which is the performance version, it's now F8 blank. So the sedan version of that is the F80, wagon is the F81. I don't even think they made a wagon M3. They might have, I don't know. I don't think they did though. The coupe, or the M4, is the F82, and then the convertible is the F83. But once again, I don't think they made a convertible M3 of that generation. They might have though. But either way, that's what those are. And then the same thing happens again, even the same numbers and everything, with the next generation, which is the current generation that we're on right now, the G generation. Okay, they changed the letter again, so now it's G whatever. So if you get the sedan, it's the G30. If you get the wagon, it's the G. Well, they didn't. Once again, I don't think they have a wagon yet, but you guys see what I'm saying. So it's G30, G31, G32, and G33. And then once again, for the performance versions, they are the G80 and the G82. So I hope you guys had learned a little bit something. please leave a comment down below for my sweet Echo. She was a good girl, and I would love to see her get a lot of support from you guys. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania. Have a nice night.